Ultimate Halo now has a Discord. Go to the description, join the community, and let's talk some Halo. Alright, steady on there. I know the title says you're wrong about Halo Infinite's Battle Royale, but who's to say you're not? Who's to say I'm not? You're very right, I could be, but this topic has resurfaced and I've seen a lot of posts and discussions based purely on preferential basis as opposed to an objective analysis of the pros and the cons. The answer to Battle Royale in Halo is not as simple as do you like it, yes or no. It's a multifaceted debate with lots of equally valid perspectives. So sit back, relax, and let's discuss why you're wrong about Halo Infinite Battle Royale.
Ultimate Halo.
Hey up lads and lasses, Fletch here from Ultimate Halo. Thank you so much for tuning in. That number there, it says 80,000. We're not just there quite yet, but with your help we can hit that glorious number, so subscribing would mean the world. And also if you like what you're seeing, a like helps more people view our videos. And I also want to know in the comment section down below, do you want Battle Royale in Halo Infinite or a future Halo title? I really want to know your thoughts, and stay tuned for my thoughts on the topic. Battle Royale, will it work in Halo? That's what we're going to cover later on in the video from a gameplay perspective, but first we're going to cover the business side of things, the thing that's going to put money in Microsoft's back pocket, keep 343 getting big budgets, and also fund various other projects such as TV shows, multimedia, books, merchandise, etc. Well, that's actually if we get the Halo TV show, that is. Halo is a franchise that does very well from a multimedia perspective, and I would say it's reasonable to assume that they want their games almost to do as well as franchises like Star Wars and maintain that longevity. However, when you look at Halo as a franchise over the past 10 years, you can definitely say it's had a decline in a lot of ways. Although, I'll admit that Halo 4 sold the most copies in 24 hours, which was indeed a record for the franchise, and suggested reports, with no solid figures actually provided, indicate that Halo 5 didn't do well, likely due to the dwindled population of the Xbox One player base, and also it was said from 343 that Halo 5 had the highest average player count for a time since Halo 3, which is rather impressive. But what exactly is it that can get Halo Infinite back on serious commercial success? Can Battle Royale be that answer? Well, the answer in short is yes. It's not the determining factor, there are other things that can make it do well, but why can it make it do well? Does something have to come at a cost necessarily, like another element of the game? So remember that, does something have to come at the cost of Battle Royale? As a Halo channel, you never ever want to do this, like ever, but it's literally in my eyes, it needs to be discussed. Call of Duty Warzone has been a resounding success with a mixture of a free-to-play model, and also due to current events a lot of people are staying home, I will make that concession, but is it possible that this business model holds the key to some degree of success? And the answer, in my eyes, is a resounding yes. The accessibility, even if it was just on Game Pass rather than being free, would enable so many more players to just jump in with the game with no commitment, give it a go, and then really be enticed by Halo's flavour of gameplay, because once you've got the battle rifle, I swear you'd never go back, man. Like I said, we'll cover gameplay in a moment, but I also want to propose something much more interesting to the audience. Something that might actually, I hope, make you think differently about the impact Battle Royale might have on Halo, and maybe just having said feature could enable you, the player, to experience one of the best Halo experiences outside of the Battle Royale. We're talking about the core experience. Okay, so look at it this way. Of course, Microsoft is a business. They have shareholders, they need to pay staff, pay dividends, and make a profitable business model. Xbox Game Pass is also a factor. You're not getting your solid £60 per title, so you need to make some finances up for that through microtransactions. In Halo 5, people were fairly vocal that they didn't like the rec system, unlocking your favourite armour, skins, weapons, etc. It frustrated a lot of people, and having a random number generator determine what customization you could have, considering the in-depth history of customization in the game and the fun ways you could get unlocks, it was a very hard pill to swallow. But what if I was to say that Halo could go back to that and not have microtransactions that impact this element of the game? Well, my friends, say hello, as you guessed, to Battle Royale. By having Battle Royale as a feature, Halo now has the opportunity to keep this separate to the core experience. much like COD Warzone has, give the game a second wind, and also have the opportunity to expand the audience to bring new people into Halo, those who might have never touched the game or picked it up before, because it's a game type that can be monetized quite heavily, leaving the rest of the game to feel as it perhaps should, earning customization through unlocks and specific tasks to drive up player engagement. That doesn't mean none of it will be monetized, but it can be done in such a way that it's not too intrusive, and that's great because then the Battle Royale can take the brunt of the monetization. Quickly, I also want to talk about player behaviour. I do note that young kids are quite happy to spend a lot of money on skins because they look cool, their friends don't have it, or it's the new thing at the time. I appreciate it was different when we were younger. Bragging rights were earned differently, and my nephew always asks for gift cards on his PlayStation so he can buy new skins. He's probably totaled the full price of the game, if not more. Now, I'm not saying this is right, I can't argue it's right or wrong because consumer behaviours have changed over the years for different demographics, but it's undeniable it would take the pressure off other areas of the game to make money. I do appreciate people's views on that. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's well worth noting. Now, before we move on to gameplay and the argument against Battle Royale, I'm just going to talk about bringing new players into Halo. Halo does have an addictive formula that people love, that's clear by the franchise's successes over the years, but a lot of people would have the assumption that there are more gamers than ever. That would then mean that there are more people to play the game than ever before, especially with Halo Infinite coming to PC. That might sound good on paper, however with so many more players means that there's so many more competitors on the market. When Halo started out, all the way through to Halo 3, there weren't as many games and shooters on the market, especially in the console space. You could argue that Halo had a monopoly on the console FPS space until Call of Duty's rise to power. As a result, having Battle Royale as a free-to-play model and the rest behind your standard £60 purchase or Game Pass enables much more people to try the game, get involved with the community, have a game formula that will hook them into a full game sale. My final point in here is to note that COD Warzone reached 30 million players in just 10 days that it launched. Like I say, current events did aid that, but nonetheless, those numbers speak absolute volumes. Aha, gameplay, the bit I know a lot of you guys want to discuss. The clip of Dr. Disrespect talking about Halo Battle Royale surfaces from time to time and sparks the discussion over and over. We know at this point we're not getting it in Halo Infinite, but that doesn't mean that things can't change. Consumer demand can spark developers to notice and act. So let's start off with the map. Honestly, if this was to be a thing, let's not reinvent the wheel. You can put it on a Halo ring, drop down like an ODST, guide yourself onto the map into a certain area using your drop pod controls, which is already off to an awesome start if you ask me, and then you can find places such as Valhalla, UNSC Outpost, crashed Covenant ships, Bludge Gulch buildings, etc. Of course, you can't really have houses in this concept, but the beam towers from Combat Evolved or the Halo Infinite trailer would do wonders to replace them. Next up we have the mechanics. Just roll with whatever mechanics for Halo Infinite are going to be, whether it's sprint or no sprint, but let's not get in that today. Then from there, looting is something I'm not 100% sure about. It would be cool to have ordnance drops on the map for players to contest. It really hones in on Halo's formula, have people fight for power positions on the map to get those weapons. It could be things such as the sniper, the rocket launcher, Spartan laser, or could be dropped on the map. You could also get your own personal ordnance, which would be really cool as well. You could get rec variants, that would be a really great way to implement them into the game. And then in terms of your starting weapons, you can simply just get a loadout just like Halo 4, just with your basic weapons such as the carbine, the battle rifle, assault rifle. You don't need much more. Then you could bring back equipment for the looting system. That's actually the first time I've sat here and thought, actually the radar jammer could actually have some positive benefit in a Halo game. You could have the bubble shield, flare, grav lift. All of these are items in previous Halo games that could have a new lease of life, and actually I think could work tremendously better in Battle Royale because you have to tactically use what you get. Then in terms of the circle, you can have your standard ring. Like I say, I don't really think we need to really reinvent the wheel for this, just have a standard circle coming in. I honestly think that Halo's formula is enough to carry the game type itself. Alright, so we've talked about some pretty cool concepts. Personally, regardless of your perception of Battle Royale, if you want it or not, it's undeniable that there are positives to having it as a game type. But then at the same time, what are the negatives? Well, don't worry, because there are some very key considerations and knock-on effects that we all need to look at. First of all, I think it would detract from the core experience, and maybe arena multiplayer for Halo in the competitive scene might be a thing of the past. Some might not care about it that much, but for those who haven't or watched any key events or even visited one, they have moments of insanity and show off the fast-paced, raw skill of these competitors. As such, we could instead see a fall in pros playing and shift to the Battle Royale just to the sheer popularity of the genre. Take that how you will. Similarly, I also think it could split up the population. In Halo 5 these days, I appreciate it's nearly 5 years old at this point, it still does okay, but the population is definitely dwindled. So if it becomes hard to find matches in game types such as Big Team Battle, Arena, Invasion, whatever else is going to be in the game, people might get frustrated, leave it altogether, or just hop into Battle Royale for the sheer sake of finding a game and playing some Halo online with their friends. Lastly, thinking about the long-term effects, would Halo need to continue to put it in every subsequent title? Does that come with the consumer expectation it needs to be in every game going forward? Personally, I don't see it as a trend. I think it's here to stay for a good long while, and would it also detract from 343 experimenting with other elements of Halo games such as Spartan Ops or Warzone, or any other new things they think of along the way? Who knows, quite possibly, and in my opinion there's a good likelihood of that being the case. I appreciate I haven't covered every single point in this video, I just tried to give a balanced look at Halo Infinite Battle Royale as a concept. Like I said, I'm impartial, and if they decide to do it then good for them, I don't blame them for making that decision. As long as Halo's still fun, has a great story and I can play it with my friends, I'm happy either way. And who's to say that it couldn't help Halo take the world by storm again? Only time will tell, but for now Halo Infinite is hopefully, emphasis on hopefully, coming out this year. Let me know in the comments, do you want it to be a game type in Halo, and I will see you on the one and the only Ultimate Halo.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo for more unfriggin' believable Halo content.